The role of insecurity. Here's the key truth most people miss. People who enjoy your struggle are fighting a war inside themselves. They are battling low self-esteem, fear of inadequacy, unfulfilled potential. Instead of fixing their own lives, they monitor yours. Your downfall becomes their emotional painkiller. Why this hurts more when it's close people? The most painful part, these people are often friends, family, colleagues, even partners, because closeness increases comparison. A stranger's success doesn't hurt as much, but your success feels personal. That's why betrayal, silent envy, and emotional distance often come from those closest to you. Why ignoring this psychology can damage you. If you are not aware of this behavior, you may overshare your plans. You may seek validation from the wrong people. You may doubt yourself unnecessarily. Worse, you may slow down your growth to make others comfortable, and that is one of the biggest self-sabotages in life. What psychology teaches us to do instead? Psychology doesn't teach paranoia, it teaches discernment. You don't need to confront everyone. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need approval. You need boundaries, emotional intelligence, and strategic silence. Not everyone deserves access to your journey.
Part 2. Fake support, silent envy, and subtle sabotage. Now that you understand why some people secretly enjoy your struggles, we need to go deeper. Because not everyone who feels this way will show it openly. Some people will clap for you. Some will congratulate you. Some will say the right words. But psychologically, their behavior tells a different story. This is where fake support begins. The psychology of fake support. Fake support is one of the most dangerous social behaviors because it is emotionally confusing. These people appear supportive on the surface, but internally they are uncomfortable with your progress. Psychology explains this using cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance happens when a person holds two conflicting thoughts at the same time. I should support them. Their success makes me feel small. Instead of resolving the conflict by improving themselves, they pretend to support you while emotionally resisting your growth. How fake support shows itself. Fake support is rarely loud. It is subtle, quiet, strategic. Here are the most common psychological patterns. 1. Delayed enthusiasm. They congratulate you late. They respond slowly. They say, nice, instead of well done. There is no energy, no excitement, no warmth. Psychologically, this happens because enthusiasm requires genuine emotional alignment, and they don't have it. 2. Conditional encouragement. They support you only when your goals feel small, your success feels temporary, your progress doesn't threaten them. The moment you become consistent, confident, or visible, their tone changes. 3. Passive discouragement. Instead of saying, you can't do it, they say, just be careful. Don't put too much hope into it. Life is hard, you know. This is not wisdom. This is fear disguised as concern.
Why some people secretly hope you fail. This is difficult to accept, but it is real. Some people don't hate you. They just hate what your success represents. Your discipline reminds them of their excuses. Your growth exposes their comfort zone. Your courage highlights their fear. Psychology calls this ego threat. When someone's ego is threatened, they instinctively seek relief. If they can't rise to your level, they unconsciously hope you fall to theirs. The role of identity and self-worth. Many people build their identity around being the smartest, the strongest, the most successful, the most respected.
When you start growing, you threaten that identity. Instead of upgrading their identity, they defend it. And sometimes defense looks like silent opposition. Subtle sabotage you may not notice. Not all sabotage is intentional, but it is still harmful. Here's how it often appears. 1. Bad advice disguised as care. They give you advice that makes you doubt yourself, slows your momentum, encourages safety over growth. They may not even realize they're doing it, but psychologically, their advice protects their comfort, not your future. 2. Emotional draining. They always bring negativity. They focus on problems. They shift conversations toward fear. Over time, this drains your motivation and clarity. Energy is psychological currency, and not everyone should have access to yours. 3. Minimizing your vision. They laugh it off. They change the subject. They don't take you seriously. Not because your dream is unrealistic, but because your belief makes them uncomfortable. Why successful people become quiet. If you observe high-performing individuals, you'll notice something interesting. They share less. They explain less. They protect their plans. This is not arrogance. It is psychological self-preservation. They understand that not everyone wants to see you win. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Silence protects momentum. The power of strategic silence. Strategic silence is not secrecy, it is intelligence. You don't need validation, you don't need applause, you don't need permission. Psychologically, when you move in silence, you reduce interference, you avoid unnecessary comparison, you protect your emotional focus. Growth requires concentration, not commentary. How this knowledge changes your life. Once you understand this psychology, you stop oversharing. You choose your circle carefully. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you. Most importantly, you stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Part 3. Emotional detachment, protection, and the final mindset shift. At this stage, the goal is not to become bitter. The goal is to become emotionally intelligent. Understanding that some people secretly enjoy your struggles should not make you angry. It should make you aware. Awareness is power. The difference between detachment and coldness. Many people misunderstand emotional detachment. They think it means being heartless, cutting everyone off, becoming distant from the world. That is not psychological detachment. True detachment means you stop internalizing other people's reactions. You stop depending on validation. You stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. Detachment is not about pushing people away. It is about pulling your energy back. Why you must stop seeking emotional permission. One of the most damaging habits is waiting for emotional approval before growing. Some people unconsciously ask, is it okay if I succeed? Will this make others uncomfortable? Will they still like me? Psychology teaches us that people-pleasing is often rooted in fear of rejection. But growth and approval rarely coexist. If you wait for everyone to be comfortable with your evolution, you will never evolve. How to protect your peace without confrontation. You do not need dramatic conversations. You do not need arguments. You do not need to announce boundaries. Here is how emotionally intelligent people protect themselves. 1. Reduce emotional access. Not everyone deserves your vulnerability. You can still be polite, you can still be kind, but you no longer give everyone full emotional access. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. 2. Observe reactions, not words. Words are easy, reactions are honest. Pay attention to who supports you consistently, who disappears when you improve, who becomes uncomfortable when you gain confidence. Psychology teaches us that behavior reveals truth more accurately than language. 3. Stop over-explaining. Over-explaining is often a sign of insecurity. You do not owe everyone a detailed explanation of your choices, your goals, or your life direction. Confidence speaks quietly. Insecurity speaks loudly.
Why guilt is a trap when you outgrow people. One of the most powerful emotional chains is guilt. Guilt makes you feel bad for outgrowing your environment, choosing peace over chaos, prioritizing growth over comfort. But psychology is clear. You are not responsible for other people's unwillingness to grow. Your responsibility is to your mental health, your future, and your purpose. The loneliness that comes with growth. Let's be honest. Growth can feel lonely. When you stop feeding dysfunction, some connections fade. When you stop shrinking, some people leave. This loneliness is not a punishment, it is a transition. Psychologically, isolation often precedes transformation. You are not alone. You are just becoming aligned. Why your silence bothers some people. When you stop explaining, justifying, or reacting, something interesting happens. Some people become uncomfortable. Why? Because your silence removes their emotional control. They can no longer trigger you, influence your mood, or measure themselves against your reactions. Silence is powerful because it denies unnecessary access. The final mindset shift. Here is the most important truth. Not everyone who walks with you is meant to walk with you forever. Some people are lessons, some are mirrors, some are temporary. Psychology teaches us that attachment to outdated connections creates emotional stagnation. Growth requires release. How to move forward without hardening your heart. You don't need to hate anyone. You don't need to resent anyone. You don't need revenge. The highest level of emotional intelligence is neutrality. You wish people well, but you move forward. You forgive, but you do not forget the lesson. Closing message. If someone secretly enjoys your struggles, it says nothing about your worth. It says everything about their internal battles. Your job is not to change them. Your job is to protect your mind, your energy, and your direction. Grow quietly. Move intentionally. Protect your peace. If this message resonated with you, it means you are becoming more self-aware. And self-awareness is the foundation of personal power. On this channel, Professor Explain 101, we break down human psychology, behavior, and mindset to help you grow mentally and emotionally. If you want more deep, life-changing psychological insights like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Share this video with someone who needs clarity, not comfort. Thank you for listening. Stay aware, stay grounded, stay evolving.